How is it going, everyone? Welcome in to the coffee break. I'm your host, Hunter Thomas. This is the first time I'm doing this not live. Typically, this was a live show, but I put a poll out on Instagram basically asking you, would you prefer this to be live and I can do it randomly, sporadically when it can happen, or would you rather it be like post-produced, if you will, recorded, and I can do it every week? And the majority of you said you prefer it to be every week, so here we are. Funny story for you. I actually recorded this yesterday and I was having a bunch of issues. Thought I got through it. It was like a 40-minute episode. I thought it was great. And the audio was jacked up the whole time. So we're back today, recording it a second time, but at least that happened while I was recording and not while I'm live. You know, got to look at the bright side here. But if you're new here, you've never, had a chance to watch the show when it was live, or this is just your first time discovering it. First off, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate the support. But secondly, to let you know kind of what goes on here. First off, I'm the co-founder, co-owner of a disc golf company called Foundation Disc Golf. And we are a retailer and media company within the niche sport of disc golf. So the goal of this is to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit of what it's like running a small business in a very particular niche, walk you through, what's going on as it happens, different struggles, different things like that, so that if you're in a similar situation or if you're looking to be an entrepreneur, you're looking to get into it, you can kind of learn from my mistakes as I go. And then I'll also kind of update you on what's going on with Foundations. If you're a Foundation fan, this is also a great place to be because it'll kind of let you know, like, this is what's upcoming. This is some of the projects on the horizon. And when stuff does happen, I can give you the business behind the scenes, if you will, like peel back the curtain of what my or the team's thought process was in regards to whatever that may be. And so we'll also have like company updates if there's like new stuff releasing, stuff like that. And then at the end, I always end with Q&A. So the Q&A this time is going to come from our Instagram, my Instagram personally. So if you want to get in on that next week, I'll post up on my story every week basically asking you for questions. So just follow me. It should be at like Hunter Thomas FDG or something like that over on Instagram. Follow me and you can submit questions and I will do my best to answer them. I'm not going to get to every question every week, but it's at least something, So first off, this week, in regards to Foundation, we have some exciting new restocks and releases. We have an Innova restock. We're going to be carrying Meridian Discs, a brand new company for the first time ever. We have some Trash Panda starter sets being carried online. Funny enough, I'm actually rocking my Trash Panda shirt today, but this will be the first time we carry the starter sets online. We've been carrying them in person for a little bit now, but this will be online, which is exciting. We actually have a Captain's Thrasher restock going on. We didn't know we were going to get more of those this year, but we just got some more in. So that's really exciting. They sold out very quickly the first time around. We also got in some first run Zone OSs, which is really exciting. I think they dropped like last year. So the first run on that disc is cool. I don't think there's a Discmania release, but we're getting a Discmania shipment in. So I don't know if that's this week or next week, but be on the lookout for a new Discmania release. And then our gift cards are on sale through Christmas. So at this point, when you're listening to this, we can't guarantee if you place an order with us that it'll arrive at your doorstep by Christmas. So if you're purchasing a Christmas gift, your best thing to do is a gift card, either for yourself or for someone else. And they're all 20% off right now. That automatically applies in your cart. So you can add gift cards as a perfect like last minute stocking stuff for just whatever it may be. And if you're looking, there's going to be like the Buzzsaw release is supposed to come in January or whatever release you're looking forward to in the upcoming year, you can get preliminarily 20% off by buying a gift card today. So super excited about all that. But what I wanted to run through today on like company update or like behind the scenes wise was a look back at November. Obviously I'm recording this on December 18th. November happened a long time ago, but this time of year is always just hectic in the retail business. And it was no exception for us. And so I just didn't have a time to really sit down and do this. And that's actually really what led to me wanting to do this recorded, is because I really wanted to talk through this stuff. And peel back the curtain onto why I think things went different ways. And I just never had time to do it live. And so I'm excited to be able to kind of sit down and do this now for the second time, because I did it yesterday. Y'all just didn't see it. So first off, November/Black Friday, I'm going to group it all into one, but this was our biggest Black Friday ever by a decent bit, which was awesome. It was really, really rewarding to kind of see this hard work pay off. And, it followed the trend of the whole year. This has just been a good year of growth for us at Foundation. And every time, like, something like Black Friday happens where it was a really solid Black Friday for us, or the growth continues, it kind of just like, I kept having this question of how or why are we growing foundation in a season where it seems like the sport's slowing down, right? Like, why is it consistent month over month, year over year growth for us in this year when the sport's pulling back? And the same thing for Black Friday. Why was Black Friday so much bigger for us this year when, it seemed like the sport as a whole and a lot of other manufacturers, we're not a manufacturer, but a lot of other companies in disc golf were slowing down. And what I kept coming to was basically kind of a focus of ours since the beginning, which was our brand. Because I think, first off, funny enough, I actually just started reading yesterday after I recorded it, but it aligns with a lot of what I'm talking about. Is I just started reading Brand It Like Serhant. I'm not a huge Ryan Serhant fan. I've watched some of his stuff, but what the guy does do very well is branding. I'm very aware of that. And so when I had the opportunity to read this book, I was like, you know what, that could be a really good one for where I feel like Foundation's heading right now, of just trying to get us focus more on brand and building a brand. I actually just finished The Infinite Game, so probably the next book review I do, because I like to talk through different business books I read, I'll probably talk about The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Great book. Regardless, that's a separate topic there. But brand, when you think of brand, a lot of people think of a logo, right? Like the brand identity. And that is a part of it, right? Like the logo on my shirt, I'm wearing a BPN hat, I have a freaking Propel right here. Like that icon is brand. Like that can be referred to as brand. That's a part of your brand. That's your brand identity. But brand is much more than that. How I have come to understand and think about brand is it's more the emotional tie when you hear a company's name or when you see a company's logo. That emotional response is kind of the brand you build, right? So like how people feel and react to you, and the first impression thought, the first thing that comes in their mind when they hear Foundation Disc Golf is brand to me. And I think that's where Foundation has done a really solid job. And why I keep saying Foundation and not me is I have not done a solid job. Our team has. And the media team, our retail team, those are everyone who's all of that's getting produced, all of the customer experience, all of that type of stuff is what really builds out a brand. So I kind of steer the ship and control the vision of the brand and where I want the brand to go, but the execution that is what is paying off is from our team. And I think our team's killing it right now. Because I think a big thing too is the customer experience side. That just sounds like customer support. You don't think of that in regards to brand, but experience with you directly. Like if you bought something from our site and you email us, that response back is one of the most impactful pieces of brand identity to that specific person. So for us, Jason does a phenomenal job. And so what that allows is when something goes wrong, the wrong disc got shipped out, the stamp had some fallout, whatever it may be, the shipment got lost. When people email us and Jason responds, that has a huge impact on the brand. Same thing with the media side, right? When we're putting out videos and we're releasing new content, the way we carry ourselves, the way we talk to each other, all of that impacts the brand. And so I think that's what we're starting to see now is over the last 5 years of being in business, we've really found ourselves and who we are. We have a pretty clear vision and identity, and that allows people to either identify with us or be like, I don't like the Foundation brand, I don't want anything to do with it. But the people who identify with us are going to be you who are listening to this, the fans that are also customers, and that's invaluable. And that is what has led to us being able to grow in a season that could be a down season, which is just awesome to see. That a lot of times it's easy just to fall into almost a victim mentality of I'm letting what happens to the sport happen to me, or I'm letting it happen extra outside forces of that I can't control, what happens to the economy, whatever, also happen to me, versus we've seen here of that's not always the case. There's going to be some the COVID boom that's going to positively affect everyone. The pullback from COVID, that's going to negatively affect everyone. But you can still have seasons of growth and seasons of like, it doesn't have to affect you as much because you are still in control of things like the brand, like public perception, stuff like that. And I think that that is a very long answer for why I think this November's went so well and Black Friday went so well. I always kind of use Black Friday. It might be an unhealthy thing, but I always use it as a way of like telling where we're really at. Because like it tests like, can you still generate hype when everyone's trying to generate hype? Everyone is screaming at customers to go shop with them. Can we scream in a way that gets people to actually shop with us? Like that is the most can we stand out moment, because can you stand out in June or July when you might be the only one yelling? That's easy. Can you stand out in November when everyone and their mom is sending 35 emails that week? That's hard. And so that's why I always use Black Friday as like a tell of what's going on, how's it going. And this was awesome. It was a great one. Now, obviously, when you have a really big weekend, you also test your machine. You test the systems that are in place with your business, and you start to see flaws if there are any. Great news for us, we didn't have anything big, which is always a good relief. When you have, like, legitimately, that Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, and this doesn't really say much because it was a slow first year, but we were within 10% of our first year of sales with that just one weekend. But what that does mean is like there was a lot of stress on the website, a lot of stress on the inventory, and a lot of stress on the fulfillment team and getting all those orders out in a timely fashion. We were able to, and by we, I mean our fulfillment team was able to get them out by like lunchtime on Tuesday. So it took like a day and a half, which I think is incredible to get that volume out. But that puts a lot of stress on something that's not normally there, right? Because typically if we're dealing with a few hundred orders and now we're dealing with several thousand orders, that's a lot different. You know what I'm saying? And so really the only thing I wanted to address was more so just a failed a different perception than how we thought when it came to our mystery boxes. Because when we were marketing our mystery boxes, we were very much like clear when it came to we saved discs specifically for this. We bought discs specifically for this. This is not just discs that are sitting on our shelves that we're trying to get rid of. This is something that we are curating, we're really proud of. And I still stand by all of those statements. I now, though, can retroactively see where that came across. Not necessarily differently. I can just understand the different perception. Let me explain. So throughout the year, we have our subscription box. So our subscription box is a product that is 3 premium plastic discs and a swag item each and every month. Okay? Not promised, but pretty much always delivered. We try to have at least 1 custom stamp disc in that box each month. So our thought process all year, starting even last year, was we're buying these. We will order extra because these are cool foundation custom stamps, and this will be perfect where we'll have a wide variety of stamps for the Black Friday mystery box. So all year long, we were ordering some months 25 extra, some months 50 extra, some months 100 extra, depending on what the stamp was. We were ordering extras where, yes, it gave us a cushion on the subscription box, but we need a 5-disc cushion to make sure we can fulfill everything. 25 to 50 to 75, like those were, everything here is now going into the Black Friday corner, more or less, and it's sitting there waiting for Black Friday mystery boxes. Same thing with like every time we got a black on black disc, it went over into a black on black box. Misprints were being saved, all that stuff. So, but the big thing that ended up being we'll call it a problem, very small problem in the grand scheme of all of it, but was the custom stamp discs, because the oversight there was where we were intentionally ordering extra and setting them aside. We weren't thinking the fact that people who are subscribed to the mystery boxes in March might be, and ended up some of them being, the same people who are going to buy the mystery box in November. So the subscription box subscribers throughout the year, a lot of y'all ended up buying the mystery boxes in November, which meant you got a disc that you already had from several months ago, which gave the perception of Foundation couldn't sell this. It sat on their shelf. They threw it in mystery boxes, which was the exact opposite of how we marketed it. And so hopefully that is clear of like when we were marketing, we just didn't see that. So when we were pushing it, we were being honest as far as what I still fully believe in that moment, but now I understand if I was someone who had the June subscription box and I happen to be a person who gets the June subscription box disc in my November Black Friday mystery box, like the featured disc, of course I'm going to be like, I have this disc. That was from back in June. Wow, Foundation just was sitting on this for months. Like they couldn't move it. When really we bought extra of it. Hopefully that makes sense. Very simple problem to fix for next year to make sure it doesn't happen again. So hopefully that clears it up. I put my email out there. If you're one of the people who fits in that and you didn't see my email, hunter@foundationdiscs.com. Let me know, because what we're doing is, if you're one of those people where like you felt let down by your mystery box, I have handled everyone that comes through. Different problems require different solutions, but each person is getting some type of fix to add value back where we dropped the ball, because it was just a miscommunication is what it ended up being. Where it did to people seem like we were basically just generating false hype when that wasn't our intention. And at the time that wasn't even on our radar. But now that I've seen pictures of boxes that I'm like, yeah, that's a solid mystery box, and the person's upset. And then I understand the reason they're upset is because it seems like it's an old disc. Makes total sense. Don't know how I overlooked it before. Not going to happen again. We have a really, really, really sick plan for next year's, because A, we want to make sure it doesn't happen again, and B, we want to make sure we re-earn the trust of people who feel like they didn't trust us with the mystery boxes anymore. Mystery boxes are typically a bunch of crap, and we don't want to put out a bunch of crap. So I also think, like, for us to drop as many products as we did and just have literally like a very small handful of issues with the mystery boxes being it, I think that speaks to the effectiveness of our team in the way that the marketing went off without a hitch, the inventory fulfillment, all of that website went off great. So I'm really, really proud of our team, really, really proud of our company. And I'm really just thankful for all of you who have supported us over these years and continue to show up time and time again. And hopefully we continue to provide the value in the community, because I think that at the end of the day too is what brand is like the foundation fandom generates community, both within the Foundation Nation, as we call you, and within your local community, where, like, I have Barstool's a good example for my friend group, right? Where like me, Brody, Trevor, we all watch different Barstool content here and there. And so there'll be something that happens and like surviving Barstool that then will generate us having like real life interactions where I'll text Trevor, Brody, and be like, oh my gosh, did you see this? And now we're all chatting as friends, and what sparked that conversation and keeps that is the content that they put out. And hopefully that's what we're able to provide to you as disc golfers, is like, you can now go out with your buddies and try Ripped Revenge, or go out with your buddies and try Disc Golf Uno or Imposter or whatever. Or when we drop a new video or talk about something on Grip Blocked, it's like creating community, yes, with us, but also with each other. And that's kind of, I think, one of the big values that we provide. And hopefully that is something that is also part of our brand. So long explanation for that. But regardless, very, very excited about November. And I can't talk too much about projects we have coming, mainly because if I did, I would spoil them. And we have some just awesome stuff, some stuff that we've never done before, some stuff that, we've trying to pull up the questions here. That's why I'm kind of stumbling over words, but stuff we've never done before, stuff that like is been a long time coming. And then one just like something we haven't done in a while. We'll call that three big things coming in quarter one. So I'm very excited for y'all to see that. But let's get into some of these questions, shall we? Otto Beal says, do you think disc golf can survive and or thrive with 2 tours in this time period? I think the answer to that is, this is obviously in reference to the Go Throw Tour, which is GK Pro rebranded, and they have launched a tour. I think in that example, yes, because I think that the Go Throw Tour doesn't seem to, in the short term, be trying to step on the Disc Golf Pro Tour's toes. They're scheduling them in off weeks in the same general vicinity. I think the only real thing they could pull from the Pro Tour, that the Pro Tour could feel, is spectators. I could see some spectators having to choose one event or the other if their favorite pro is going to be at both. So I think that could be the only way that it would hurt. But where the tour I think would struggle and like couldn't survive is if the two tours split. If the two tours split the field. So like if you had the Pro Tour and the Go Throw Tour happening at the exact same time, then I think that's where in the field was split. So you have, Gannon Burr playing one, Ricky Wysocki playing the other. I don't think disc golf's big enough yet to handle that of the field splitting, but I think the complimentary tour is how it looks like it's going to happen right now. I think that is going to be fine. Freddie said best plastic for the zone. I like ESP plastic for the zone. It's a little bit straighter, but it depends on what you want out of your zone. If you want it to be as overstable as possible, then like Crystal or Z. But I personally like ESP. Okay, off-season question here. Baby Francois87 said, where is Isaac going? Originally, I was very confident in Discmania, but there was a Reddit post that alleged they saw him in Sweden wearing Latitude 64 gear. So if that's true, obviously it's Latitude 64. I have no idea. I don't have any insider information about this one, so I can't even make an educated guess. Obviously, the obvious answer would have been Discmania, just because that's where all of his friends are. But who knows? He also posted that story where he was apparently waiting at the gate to go to Detroit, which Detroit would point to either MVP or Discraft. So maybe that's also a possibility, but I don't know. Math Morgeson said, do you fancy making pour-overs or even flash-brewed iced coffee? I've never done flash-brewed ice, but I make a pour-over pretty much every single morning. Let me see some other easy par disc golf. What are some big plans coming up for the new year? Obviously, I just mentioned we have 3 big things in the first quarter that I can't talk about. What I can talk about is the All-Star events coming back. We'll have actual team jerseys this time that'll be purchasable. We're locking in the date. Probably today I'll have the date we're filming that locked in. So that's always exciting to do the staff All-Star event. I always enjoy that. I think people enjoy it. The Imposter reality series is going to come back. Bigger and better than this year. We already had a planning meeting about that, and we have a lot of really good ideas on ways to improve it. Some of them from the comments from you who watched it, and then other ones just things that we wanted to implement this year, but we were scared of making it too reality show feeling, and so we wanted to just kind of test the waters. And now that we know people really enjoyed the reality show feel, we can now lean into it a little bit more, which I think people will really like. Derek says, why don't pros let their contracts be public? Could be better to grow the game. I think so. Public contracts can be good, but there's also a downside too. So the public contract, positive, right? Most obvious example is Paul, 10-year, $10 million deal, got outside the sport publication, got outside the sport press, which can lead to people who'd never considered playing disc golf, looking at disc golf saying, this dude's making $10 million, I can get in there and do it. And also could lead to someone like Gannon, who I don't know how much it influenced him, but they're in high school, obviously could go to college, could do a lot of stuff, now is fully touring. That type of money being public is good in that sense, but where it's bad is I don't know if Paul's 10-year, $10 million deal was never made public. Would Dynamic have signed Ricky Wysocki to a 4-year, $4 million deal? Because I'm going to just be straight with you as a retailer, and I think you can look around. I don't think Ricky is worth to Dynamic $1 million a year. Is he worth to a different company? I don't know. But I don't see Dynamic being thrown at all my local courses. I don't see Dynamic flying off the shelf, and I don't see the Sake Bomb General or Sake Bomb Felons being crazy good sellers. And obviously they're good enough that if he was making $200,000 a year, sure, I think that makes a lot of sense. But that $1 million a year is a lot of plastic someone's got to move if you're trying to go direct 1-to-1 ROI. So I think that's the negative side somewhat, is it can pressure. I mean, the most recent example, and I don't know if this is going to end up happening, but the Discraft, Climo to Discraft $200,000 a year news, I've heard that's a rumor, so I don't know if that's actually what Climo's getting or not, but it's out there. So now Isaac Robinson, we talked about him earlier, is in a contract year. If I'm his agent, I'm using that as a bargaining chip of well, look, Ken Climo, who doesn't play anymore, hasn't played disc golf in a competitive sense in a long, long time. Basically, it's just his name, is worth $200,000 a year. You bet your bottom dollar my client, who's the 2-time back-to-back current reigning world champion, is worth a decent bit. And so now he can use that to negotiate a higher thing where, I don't know, it could be good for the players, but it also is going to be some players where, I'll just throw two. We'll go two players that are like on a similar level. We'll go, I can't think of two players that are on a similar level. We'll go Parker Welk and Andrew Marweed. I feel like they might be similar levels. We'll just use both of them in this example of, okay, Parker Welk, let's say he makes $50,000 a year, and I'm Andrew Marweed, and that's now public, and I'm like, I just have a commission-based deal. How is this guy making 50 grand? And now I'm going to demand 50 grand, and I might be told no, and then there's going to be other players who, like, if the public knew how much or how little they were getting paid, might be like public outrage of how are you paying that player this much money and this player is not getting that. So there's pros and cons to it is basically what I'm trying to get at. All right, let me get back into here. Oh, this is a fun one. Jesse Nash says, what does Luca want the most for Christmas? So Luca's obviously not at a point where he's like asking, like putting together a Christmas list. He's a 2-year-old. He's my 2-year-old son, for those of you who don't know. But we got him some stuff that we're really excited for. He sometimes, Liz will turn this on and he will watch. So I won't say exactly words that he'll know. But basically there is one thing that is inflatable that he can leap up and down in, and it fits in our living room. So that's really exciting. He's going to absolutely freak out over that. Sorry, I'm trying to use words that if he's watching this, he will have no clue what I'm talking about. Another thing is a catching apparatus for a soccer ball. He'll absolutely love that. He loves kicking a soccer ball around. And we got a few other things. My parents got him battery operated. He can drive it. A battery operated thing he can drive. This is a fun way to like explain kids Christmas gifts. But yeah, hopefully those all make sense. But we're very excited for Christmas this year. I think he's gonna really, really like it. This one I think could be good for people. Style said, what are some tips for being successful in low tier tournaments? I think any type of tournament, what you have to do is kind of take your mind, accept the pressure, know how you handle pressure. I personally end up playing better with pressure. It helps me focus. So I try to really hype myself up more and more. Some people suck under pressure. If you're not good under pressure, dial it down more and more. But regardless, I think the best thing you can do in a tournament is just have a short-term memory, because you can only control the shot you're about to throw. So you can't let stuff snowball. And even if stuff's going really, really well, you can't let one bad throw halt you. So you need to just only focus on the shot that's ahead of you and executing that. So if you hit an early tree and you kick off into the woods, that shot's done. You can't get it back. You're now at the next one, and you're just looking, how can I throw this shot as best as I can? And if you focus it shot by shot, I found that that's really helped me. But, you got to really just kind of know your game, play to your game, and don't try to do something outside your comfort zone. If you step up to a shot and all week in practice it was a backhand, and then you step up and the other 3 people on your card threw a forehand, don't all of a sudden throw a forehand just because they did. Stick to your game plan, stick to your game, and just take it shot by shot. Gage says, any thoughts about doing a triathlon after completing the marathons? Obviously you think about it, but the 2 things that don't intrigue me about triathlons. One, the swim training. My parents have a pool, so like I'm blessed that during the summer I could go over there and swim train, but then during the winter, or like it's open May to September, so all the other months I'd have to have a gym membership just to swim. Don't like that. Or I'd have to get a wetsuit and go swim in a lake that's like 30 minutes away. Don't like that. But the big thing is the bike cost. A, I'm not really interested in biking. B, a racing bike is expensive, very expensive for me just to get it and maybe not like it. So the triathlon world intrigues me, but not enough for me to bite yet. Okay, we'll answer a few more questions and then we will wrap it up here. Ren said, plans to build / expand the personalities of Foundation. that is a long-term vision, long-term plan. So it's something where right now we'll take the opportunities when they come, like when there is a chance for someone to develop as a personality or for an outside personality to become a foundation personality. We will always explore that and look at it. But it's not an immediate, we need that to happen. We do want it to happen eventually though, because the idea is like when I'm 27 right now, when I'm 47, do I want to be spinning a wheel that tells me to put peanut butter on my hand and throw a disc with it? Maybe, maybe not, but I want to not have to do that. I want to be able to have the option where if I like doing that and I want to pop into a video here and there, sick, sure, I can do that. But I don't want that to be where like 3 times a week I have to go out and I have to do these goofy challenges, because eventually that won't be sustainable. Like at what point is the audience you're reaching with that not going to watch someone with gray hair that's 60 doing that? You know what I'm saying? And so it's something where in order for that not to be the case, because I want foundation to last well beyond me, in order for that not to be the case, you have to build other personalities so that the brand becomes sustainable without a person. Because like right now, if you took me, Trevor, Connor, Silas away from content, the content in the short term is going to hurt. Yeah, we have like people recognize Brad and Jason, and we can have Robbie in it, but it just isn't going to do as well because that's just not the personalities people are used to, right? So as time goes on, you want to build in more personalities that can spin off, do their own thing. People become fans of them specifically. It also helps the brand diversify more because like even right now where we're at, you have Tour Life, you have Grip Lock, you have In the Bag. Those are the 3 main podcasts that happen every week. There's going to be people who are fans of Brad and Robbie on In the Bag that hate Brody and I, or hate Trevor and Brody on Grip Lock and Tour Life. And so they're still going to listen to a foundation product, even though they don't like us. Same thing with they might like Brody and not like Grip Lock, or a lot of people don't like Brody but do like Grip Lock, so on and so forth. So it's important from that aspect too, because it can allow you to reach a lot of people that if you just have like 1 or 2 personalities, you can't reach. So more of a long-term plan, but definitely in the back of our minds for sure. Jackson says, explanation on the Charleston store, why it didn't work out, or is there an NDA? No NDA. It's essentially, though, just is one of those things where running a business in a big city like Charleston is expensive. So the rent there was very expensive and stuff like that. The course there right next to Park Circle has some question marks in regards to like it's closed part of the year. There's also like different expansion plans that some of them include disc golf, some of them don't. I don't know the full details of that. And we didn't own the store. It was more like a licensing agreement, more or less. So the owners of the store had the opportunity to get out of their lease, and the store was not bringing in enough revenue to sustain the rent, pay back the inventory we had originally sent, and order new inventory. And so like something had to give. And with the opportunity, it was like, hey, we can just cut it here. Foundation, us as a company, we just ate the loss of the inventory that was still, whatever, that's fine. And just cut it there and wipe it clean, move on. And what's good is the owners of it down there are still very involved in the local community. So like the community still has the tournaments going on. They still have the weeklies. They still like the community down there is still thriving. It just, with how expensive Charleston was, it just clearly wasn't big enough to fully sustain a disc golf store at the time. It could have sustained a smaller one. It could have sustained one maybe in a different area, but then you're away from a course, and that just felt like a risk with the store already being set up and having to move and yada, yada, yada. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's the full story of it. So, okay, we'll go two more questions here. If I didn't answer your question, some of them came in late. There's several here I didn't get to, mainly because I just wanted to keep this around like 30 to 45 minutes. So if you didn't get your question answered, feel free to ask it again next week. If I end up doing one next week's Christmas, I might, maybe not. Feel free to ask it though, and whenever you see the prompt again, and I will hopefully get to it that time. But John said, does Foundation/Atlas ever plan to become a manufacturer? No, is the answer to that. I'm not going to say that I will never be a part of a manufacturing company, but if so, it will not be Foundation, mainly because it doesn't make sense to me where I can be a retailer, foundation can be a retailer, and have good working relationships with people that would be our competition. I think that the weird spot disc golf's in right now is the obvious one. Infinite Discs got so big as a retailer that manufacturers can't lose that account, and so therefore it's catch-22. They can't do anything about it, right? As Infinite is becoming a manufacturer, if you're whatever company, you can't really lose that account, and so now it is what it is, which has led to other smaller retailers getting into the manufacturing game, whereas that would have probably just been stomped out because it's like, hey, I see an MVP disc in front of me. As far as I know, MVP's never said this, so I'm putting words in their mouth, but if I'm MVP, and whereas if it's a small retailer and I reach out to them like, hey, if you keep making your own discs, you can no longer buy from MVP, and now the retailer has to decide, like, do I carry MVP or do I carry my own product? Now that a big company has set precedent, that's not happening. But the second that the big company, being Infinite, turns into just a manufacturer, which I don't know if that's their end goal, but if it was and they did do that, then that could happen, and I don't want to open foundation up to that risk where, like, we're now a manufacturer and a retailer, and then we all of a sudden have to choose. So if I did ever get into it, which I don't have plans to because I just don't really see a hole in the market that we would be able to, like, go in and add value to customers that isn't already being added. But if that did happen and we did pursue it, it would be under a completely separate company, separate from foundation. So short term, no. In Atlas, we stick to bags. We're good at making bags. We are good at bringing, value at a price point that I didn't think, really was out there. And so we stick to what we know. All right, final one from Mario. What keeps you mentally stable? So I'll give you two answers here, Mario. First and foremost answer as a Christian is my relationship with Jesus Christ. I think that, in pretty much all situations, the promises of the Bible give a lot of hope, a lot of, future promises of hope, and also the Holy Spirit gives a peace in rocky situations that, they call it a peace that passes all understanding, because it does, because it doesn't make sense. When you feel a peace in a time where it should be hectic, in a time where it should be really, stressful. And that's not to say that as a Christian, you'll never struggle with, like, anxiety or depression or anything like that. Of course, those things will still exist, but it's different in my mind going through rocky situations, going through tough times, knowing the hope you have in tomorrow. So I think that's first and foremost what keeps me mentally stable, is because I have I have my foundation on a rock, being Jesus and the Holy Spirit. So I think that's first and foremost. But if for whatever reason you're looking for more, like, I want an action, not a religion, or it's not religion, it's a relationship, then the other thing that's helped me in recent times is running. I think running's been big for me too, of just giving me time, not necessarily just running. I think it's more so the time of just quietness, of just being able to go out, run without headphones, but just be outside. My phone is in my hand, but I'm not checking notifications. I'm not, like, texting people. I'm not consuming content. I'm just out there, me and my thoughts. It lets me think through things. It lets me get better perspective on things that maybe seemed like a big deal that aren't a big deal. And sometimes it lets me just think about absolutely nothing. Maybe brainstorm something I'm excited about, maybe whatever. So I think, in today's world of just, like, a lot of busyness, a lot of, just being hectic, and you have a lot of inputs, a lot of stuff just constantly coming in, people constantly wanting your attention, people constantly trying to, different apps fighting for attention, different stressors. It's really good just to have a constant release where you can get out and get away from all of it and just, run in nature. So running for me, but I really think it's working out can scratch the same itch, just sitting in a park can scratch the same itch. But just really having time where it's just, like, set aside. For me, it ends up probably averaging out when I'm training to, like, 40 some minutes a day, where I just go and I'm just by myself, me and my thoughts. I think that's really important and healthy. So those are the two there. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode of Coffee Break. Be sure to check out foundationdiscs.com for all the stuff I just went through that's releasing this week, and stay tuned for all the exciting stuff we have coming up. It's been a great year this year, and it's going to be even a better year next year. We have a lot of really, really, really big, exciting things coming. Most of them you'll find out within the first quarter of 2025. Sounds weird saying 2025, but hey, time's flying, man. So appreciate y'all tuning in, and I might talk to you next week. It's Christmas next week. I might take next week off. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a later episode, maybe like Thursday or Friday. But stay tuned on Instagram on my stories if you want to submit questions there, and I'll talk to you again later.